I got my 2014 Nissan Altima SV, and my air conditioning has not been behaving lately. I usually have to keep it on the lowest setting just to feel cool. It seems to only really cool when I'm driving, when I'm at a stop, or if I'm just coasting. I can feel the air conditioner go down or even just disappear altogether. Then I'm driving and it comes back again. I thought it might be my refrigerant level, but I double-checked that. I put in fresh refrigerant, and as you can see by my readings here, I can't seem to get much past 160 on the high, and the low will be anywhere between, 65 and at the lowest it might go to 49, I found. It's about 75 degrees right now. It's about 7:30 in the evening. This will change slightly depending on the temperature, but this seems to be the basic deal here. Now the low line here is actually cool to the touch, but the air inside, it's just not cool enough. So something tells me there's a restriction somewhere. So let's see if we can solve this problem. So I'm in my car right now. It's about 90 degrees out, and I got my air conditioner set to 72. It's on, and yeah, this is what I'm getting for output. Now if I rev the engine up, I can make it drop. It'll continue to drop, and when I'm driving, it'll be comfortable. Takes a while when I start the car for the air conditioning to get cold too. And I gotta keep it on low to feel any kind of cool. And now I'm taking my foot off the pedal. You can see the temperature rising. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of coolness. This isn't fun. Let's see what we can do. So after a lot of research and watching other videos, it would seem that the culprit is a compressor control valve. Also goes under a solenoid, refrigerant control valve. Yeah. These are sold at AutoZone for $83.99. From what I've read, an expensive one can be just as bad as a cheap one. So I decided to buy something in the middle from eBay, from a seller that had a really good feedback rating. Import part direct, and they had basically 100% satisfaction from a lot of Altima drivers who bought the part. So let me order that, and I'll get back to you. So with my car up on ramps, we can see right here I have perfect access to the valve. And I didn't even have to remove a splash guard or anything. This is crazy. But I can see that I'm going to need snap ring pliers. Let me get this off. Yeah, that needs snap ring pliers, so let me fetch those. Alright, we got our snap ring pliers in place, and let's try to get this out. And of course, it's not going to be as easy as I hoped. Well, let me put the camera down so I can use both hands. Alright, so with the ring out, I've got to kind of pry this loose here. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. If not, I'll have to put the camera down again. That's pretty stubborn. It wants to come out, but I just need both hands to do it, so here we go. With some finessing, with a flathead screwdriver, and some tugging, I eventually got the old valve out. Everything looks good in here. I did put my clean finger up in there to get some of the oil, and I put it on the 3 O-rings that are in the new valve. So all we gotta do is put this guy back in here. I think this needs to be seated. Let me get a socket or something. Yeah, here's a socket I found that fits right in this crevice. And hopefully I can just push the seater in there. Wow, I just can't seem to do anything one-handed today. Alright, so I managed to just tap it in with that socket. That really helped. Now, when you put back this clip, make sure it's fully seated. I thought I had it, but then I went around it just to be sure with a screwdriver, and it seated even further, so it's deceiving the way it might look. You want that in there all the way. There can be no variations. Alright, this is in there. Put the clip back on. And of course, before you do this, your system has to be evacuated of all your refrigerant. I had it done at the garage. All we have to do now is draw a vacuum and refill it to specs. Alright, for the rest of this, you're going to need a manifold gauge. You can get these at Harbor Freight, like mine, for like $40 when they're on sale. But you're also going to need a vacuum compressor. And they sell those at Harbor Freight for like $100, but you can go to AutoZone and have one loaned to you for free. You give them the deposit, you use it, bring it back, and they refund you, and the whole thing's free. It's very nice of them. One thing I found though, when you rent these, the oil level will almost be low, if not empty. Make sure you take care of that before. Mine's on an angle right now. It should be more like that. But I ended up they didn't even have the oil at the store that I got the pump from. I had to go to a different store down the road. So yeah, make sure of that. And we can just turn her on. And it's starting to vacuum. These need to be open, as well as the low and the high lines. And we can leave this like that for like 45 minutes, and we'll come back and see how it's looking. I'm about 25 minutes into my vacuum pull, and it starts raining. I specifically performed this procedure today because the forecast said it was going to be clear skies. That's Florida for you. So I had to throw my tarp up over to protect the car and the compressor. It's still running. And that's where we are now. Looking pretty good. I'll get back to this in about another half hour or so. Alright, it's been a little over an hour, and I don't think I'm going to get any lower than this. Got 30 on the low. Now, I got the vacuum still running. Before you turn it off, you need to make sure that you close the low and the high side, because once you turn off that vacuum, it'll introduce air back into your system, and that's no good. So those are closed. I can shut this off, and now we gotta let this sit for a bit, maybe another hour, and make sure that those needles aren't moving, because we want to maintain that vacuum. Because if those needles move, it means you got a leak elsewhere. It could be in your manifold gauges for all you know. So let's hope for the best. Yeah. Well, this system's been under a vacuum now for almost 3 hours because I've been waiting for the rain to finally stop. And it looks like we're right where we were when we started, so I think that's a good sign. Now we can just introduce some new refrigerant. Let me hook that all up. Okay, I'm introducing some, I've begun the process here. I had a problem with the leaking here on this tube. I might have to return this gauge after all. But I fitted on my canister of refrigerant. I purged the air out of here, started the car with the air conditioner on, and then opened up the low end. The needle went up here and then it came right down to 10, and it's slowly filling in now, emptying the can into the compressor system. And so I thought my line had a leak in it, because when I would screw in my refrigerant can, it was spouting out right around here, but I switched the line around on a hunch and it spouted out there on the other end, but the original end was fine. I realized the real problem is these adapters that are for the new cans with the resealable nozzle. They just don't have a proper way to seal with the gasket that's in that refrigerant line. So you got to get one of those. You got to get one of those newer, well, older style / newer style ones that fit onto the new cans and have the crank down T-bar, and that will take care of that. I ended up dispensing most of my coolant using this dispenser that I've had for years, and it worked. But yeah, if you got to work with this, you're probably asking for trouble. But the Harbor Freight manifold is good. Yeah, I think my manifold, my yellow refrigerant line, had a leak in it. So I took the can off of that and I put it on my dispenser line that I keep in my trunk. And I've been feeding it through there. As you can see, I'm at like 30 now, and 150 or so on the high. This is already a good sign, because before the low would never go below 50. So here we are, and this looks a lot better. We got about 35 on the low, 100 and maybe 65 on the high, and this is just at idle. Let's go take a temperature reading in the cabin.